very good evening. Welcome to Building to Last program. Before we start, let me make a prayer. Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, thank you even this evening, even as we minister to the world. Father, we pray even because of our guest that we have here today, even as he speaks, may the experiences of his life build us and make us today in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. I want to appreciate our father, the prophet of the house, for this chance and opportunity, even that he has allowed us to air this program. And with me is the director, St. Christopher School, Mathu. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank
if we
you,
may
madam.
begin. Who is Benard Mathu?
I think I'm many things,
Yeah.
but I would like to describe myself as a humble servant of the Almighty God.
Wow.
I was born 60 years ago in a humble family.
Yeah.
My parents hailed from Nyeri, but I was born in Makueni because that is where my father was working. My father was a cook in Muzungu farm in Makueni, and that's where I was born.
Yeah.
My mother was a housewife.
Yeah.
So we were born in a family of 7 children.
Yeah.
And our mother died when I was 7 years old. And therefore, for me, I was second last born.
Yeah.
And therefore, we were left when we were very young. And at that time, I had joined primary school in 1968 in Standard 1.
Wow.
But then she died in August 1968. So I had done term 1 and 2. After she passed on, I was withdrawn from school to stay with my younger brother who followed me because my father was working a distance away from our house.
Yeah.
And I had to join primary school 3 years later.
What?
Yes.
You waited for 3 years to
I
join?
waited for 3 years to go back to school.
How old was your small brother? That
3
you
years.
Yeah.
He was actually 3 years old. When
So you took
our
care of him
mother
for
died.
3 years?
Yes.
Wow.
Because my other siblings
Yeah.
were much older.
Yeah.
Reason being, during my father was actually in the Mau Mau movement. And 1952, when the declaration of the state of emergency, my father was separated from my mom.
Oh.
And he was taken to detention.
Yeah.
He was only released about 9 years later. So my older siblings have a big gap between myself and my younger brother.
Okay.
So I went to school in a school that was 9 kilometers away. So one way we would walk with, there's the brother that I follow.
Yeah.
We went to school together because I grew fast, I was big. And therefore we went to school the same year in Standard 1, 1968.
Yeah.
But when I was withdrawn, then he continued.
Okay.
We used to walk 9 kilometers one way and then back, so 18 kilometers per day. And you know, in Makueni, in the Ukambani area, most of the year it was very hot. You can imagine the distance that we were taking. However, well, we managed. And I went to school until Standard 4, when my father then stopped working there and moved back to our home in Tetu, Nyeri.
Okay.
And so I continued for Standard 5, 6, and 7 in another school, Kiret Primary in Tetu.
Okay.
After which I was admitted at Alliance High School in Kikuyu.
Wow.
So I, from there, one of my sisters is married near Alliance High School in Kikuyu. And sometimes for the 6 years that I was in Alliance High School, some of the holidays I would stay in Kikuyu. And today there are people who actually think I come from there because of the period of time I stayed there. Because after Alliance High School, I went from Form 1 to Form 6. Then I joined Kenyatta University. And after my degree, Bachelor of Education degree, I went back to teach at Alliance High School.
Wow.
Later on, along the way, I did a master's degree, Master of Business Administration, MBA. And then I worked in Alliance High School for 14 years. And 4 of those years, I was the deputy principal. Then I was transferred from Alliance High School and promoted and taken to Kakamega County as the principal, Musingu High School. And then when I was in Musingu High School, I worked for 3 years, and then I resigned from Teacher Service Commission and went into the business world.
And you stepped outside?
I stepped outside.
What triggered this move?
All along, well, even when I was working at Alliance High School, and incidentally from the beginning when I got my appointment letter, those days, we were given our appointment letters at the university. When we did the final examination, even before graduation, we were given appointment letters and posted to schools. It's not like today, where they have to go doing interviews and waiting for a long time. So I remember telling a friend, although I got this job, I would want to do my own business in a very short time. I said that. I didn't know really, but in my mind I felt I like independence. And therefore I felt I didn't want to work for a long time. I wanted to go into business. And when I was in Alliance High School, I started 2 businesses that worked very well.
No wonder the zeal,
One of the businesses, I used to have a holiday school.
Wow.
Every holiday, I would gather children in Nairobi. There was a school on Laltema Road called Ravo Secondary School. I would lease it or hire it for the holidays. And I would gather, by the time I was stopping that business, I was gathering over 800 children per holiday.
Per holiday, that's a school.
And I would engage.
Other teachers.
I would engage other teachers. Of course, I wouldn't teach alone. But we concentrated on 4 subjects: mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology. Those were the most popular. 1 or 2 children would want to do others, but that's what we concentrated on. And then
you discovered there's money.
I discovered there was money. Because it would make good money every holiday. And this somehow made me, I was fairly comfortable and committed to my work. I would tell you today that in Alliance High School, for all the years I worked, I used to teach biology. My mean score was always the best. That one I can tell you for sure, and the records are there. I made sure that I did my work so well, duties and everything else. I was doing it so well. The holiday school never interfered with my work. But at the same time, I also began another business. I was housed in the school. And therefore, the house where my house was on about almost an acre space. So I was able to construct chicken houses. And I started the business of broiler chickens. I would supply to all sorts of places, but I was lucky I got tender to supply the University of Nairobi. So at some point, I was the sole supplier of broiler chickens in the whole of University of Nairobi.
And you never resigned.
And the good thing is that many people did not want to take that tender. Reason being, when you supply, anytime you supply, you would get your check about 6 months later. So not many people are ready to wait for 6 months to get back their money. So I came up with a strategy. All the money I would make from elsewhere, I would bank it, and I accumulated very large capital. Capital that would enable me to survive even when my money is held. I would wait for the 6 months and I would finally get my check. But I had enough money to run. I had almost 6,000 chickens at different ages. There are those that were at the brooder, those that are 2 weeks old, 4 weeks old, 6 weeks old. and different hotels, because apart from the University of Nairobi, I would supply elsewhere.
Yeah.
There are those who wanted the 4-year-olds. Majority wanted the 6-year-olds. I mean, the 6 weeks old.
Old, yeah.
So that's the way it was going. Of course, I had employed somebody to look after the chickens.
Like how many? How many people?
There were 2 people looking after the chickens,
yeah.
and there was one who was a driver who would go supplying, because when I'm engaged, I bought a van.
It was good business.
Yes, I bought a van, and therefore the people who would slaughter them, those ones would come when it's needed. And there were many in that area, because there were many other people keeping the chickens. So they would come, slaughter, and then the driver would pick and go to supply. When I'm free, then I would do it myself.
Okay.
I had my car. I would just, if there are not so many, I would put them in my car boot.
Yeah.
If there is big volume, then I use the van.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
For how long did you do that business?
Oh, I did, for the tuition business, I did it for 13 years. For the chicken business, I did it for 9 years.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. And those businesses ended when I was transferred from Alliance High School to Kakamega, because by then we had to move out of the schoolhouse.
The house, yeah.
Yes.
And there was no way of establishing it somewhere else.
It was not easy, although we had some property nearby at the Kikuyu town.
Yeah.
But it was the space was small.
Small, okay.
Yeah.
All right. What is it that you're learning in life? Now you just mentioned your age, and I'm thinking this is big. What are you learning in life and unlearning and have learned in life that you think this is an important lesson?
First, to answer your question that you had asked earlier,
the
reason why I resigned
forgot.
Is when I was taken to Kakamega and my businesses collapsed, I was used to doing business.
Extra money.
Extra money. And I felt that I was far away from my family, because I did not take my family there. I was unhappy. And indeed, when TSE gave me the letter to go to Kakamega, I resisted. Indeed, I confronted the PS.
Yes.
And I told him I won't go. But somehow, God works in his own mysterious ways, because when I reflect on it, what I am today that was part of the journey.
Because it contributed.
Yes, it contributed, because I had developed a kind of comfort zone in Alliance, and I thought then I was okay with everything. But when they gave me that letter, when I resisted, our chairman of the board then organized a meeting for me to meet the director of education, because the chairman of the board did not want me to resign, because I wanted to resign.
Oh, okay.
And when I met the director of education, she talked to me, but still did not convince me.
Yeah.
Then later on, an appointment was made by her, the director of education.
Yeah.
She was a Mrs. Wangai that time. And when I went to meet her, I found the PS. That was Professor Karega Mutahi then. And all the senior ministry officials. And I thought, okay, here I am. I think these guys are going to sack me today.
I can imagine.
But instead, they flattered me. They started telling me how good a teacher I am, the work that I had done Alliance, and that's the reason they are promoting me and all this. And indeed, by then, I was in job group M. I was moved to N immediately, on the spot.
Wow.
And I was told to move to Kakamega. That is when I changed my mind. I was about to resign because I didn't want to go there.
Yeah.
But when I accepted, my friend, Dr. Bone Kalwale, he was the MP, Kolomani, where the school was.
Yeah.
He called me immediately.
Wow.
Organized for transport, and I went to Kakamega.
Okay.
And I took over Musingo High School.
Yes.
I worked, and I worked very hard.
Yeah.
But then another opportunity in an international school presented itself. And since it was this side, I decided now this is the opportunity now to quit.
Yes.
And go and finally establish my business near my family.
Yeah.
That's how I quit.
Okay. Oh, that's how you transit from that to business now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now to the other question. What you've been learning in life.
Good things don't come easy.
Talk to me.
Yes, good
Yes.
things. You've got to work. Let me tell you that, okay, there are situations whereby people succeed in quotes, maybe by getting a lot of money through shortcuts. It happens.
Yeah.
But that's not normal in life. In life, the normal thing is for you to grow, work hard, work on whatever you achieve, and you achieve it.
Okay.
Yes.
Because even that comes easy might just live the same way.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's true. Many times whatever comes easy lives the same way because you don't have the experience of how to earn it or how to gain that success.
Yeah.
And therefore, it's very easy for you to lose it.
Yes.
And many people do that. It's just like starting from the top. You know, when you go along the stairs and go up, you feel the heat, you feel there's energy you are using and you're going up. And when you reach there, you're like, oh, yes. Finally, I'm at the top.
Yeah.
But when you fly there, you don't even feel the heat or the energy that you use when you're moving along the stairs.
Yeah.
So, and in any case, when God created us, He could have created us from nowhere and made us adults.
Everything.
But then we begin
Small.
from as being children, all along to what we become.
Yeah.
So that we were meant to experience every part of that. Yes, and it applies everywhere in business and every other aspect of life. You got to follow the stairs.
Yeah.
Sometimes God can bless you.
Yeah.
There are those extraordinary times when you know, like they say in Kiswahili, unaweza angukia. You know, on
there are times you get a little extra.
Positively, not by stealing or anything. Unaweza angukia too. Yeah, it happens. And that's God's favor and blessing.
Yeah.
But doesn't happen all the time. Yeah.
Okay. Why Laikipia? How do you end up in Laikipia?
Well, I think it was more or less accidental, but I would say this. I worked, when I left Kakamega, I worked in Nyeri for a while.
Yeah.
And I was a member of Nyeri Club.
Yeah.
I started playing golf when I was in Kakamega. So I came and joined Nyeri Club. And then I remember when we would come and play golf in Nanyuki. And this period of June, July, August, when it's very cold, we would leave Nyeri when it's so cold. And then somewhere after Kiganjo, we begin to meet sunshine.
Yeah.
And I remember telling friends, I wish I would find a land here. I wish one day I would live in Nanyuki. Imagine that's what I was saying.
Wow.
And I didn't know.
No, yeah.
I didn't
With
know
no
that.
plans, nothing.
No plans whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then later on, an opportunity presents itself.
Yeah.
When somebody told me that there's a property on sale in Nanyuki.
Yeah.
Incidentally, a school.
Your area now.
And do you know what?
Yeah.
This was the 4th attempt to start a private school.
Yourself.
When I was in Alliance High School,
talk to me.
I tried to start a school in Ngong.
Yeah.
It didn't work. I tried to start a school in Kikuyu somewhere. It didn't work. I tried to twice in 2 different places in Kikuyu. It didn't work.
Yeah.
And you know, I've told you that I used to have a holiday school. So eventually, when I was told there was a school on sale here, it was now God had come. And the opportunity finally was there.
Yeah.
Yes, and finally I negotiated.
Yeah.
It was not easy. Maybe, I don't know whether to say it at this point. It wasn't easy.
No, talk about it. Now, I'm thinking actually now you've failed thrice. What makes you believe on a 4th attempt?
I told you when I left university and I got my appointment letter, I told a friend one day I'll have my business. So it was always in my mind. And there is this saying that what you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you will create. And all along, I wanted a business. I wanted to be self-employed. And it was always in my mind. And finally, it became. It's not, you see, when God created the world, we are told, He said, let there be. So His words became action. It became what the world is today. And I think God has given us that potential. If you focus your mind on something, imagine it, focus on it, it will finally present itself. And it presents itself like an opportunity. Time and chance happens to everyone. And the opportunity, when it comes, if you don't notice it, it goes and goes forever. And I am a believer in this. Matthew 7:7 tells us this. Ask, shall be given to you. Seek, you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened. I pray a lot. Probably I don't look like a very prayerful person. But I pray a lot. Yeah. And I have done it all my life.
Yeah.
I keep asking God for this and this. And you know, when we ask God for something, sometimes we get impatient because it looks like it's not happening. But the way I did the seeking is when I pray to do something, I don't wait for God to start it for me. I start it.
Oh, you pray, you start?
Yeah, I pray, I start.
So I think that's the greater you're an entrepreneur,
yes,
true.
Yes. I always make the first step.
Yes.
And they say, we don't have the time for me to tell the whole story where I failed.
Yeah.
But there are many attempts I've failed. Like I've told you, to try to start schools.
Yeah.
But I'm very persistent on something.
Yeah.
That is one attribute I have. When I focus on something, I don't stop. I can be nagging, and I will continue.
I like that, yeah.
What happened is, a friend of mine told me that there was property on sale in Nanyuki. That time I was somewhere. At that time, incidentally, I was jobless. I had resigned from the other job. I quit that other job.
Yeah.
I went to US. Okay, what happened is that I quit without knowing where I'm going. The international school. I quit and I said, okay.
You got tired?
I was tired. And it was not working the way I thought.
Okay.
So I quit. The interesting thing, that time when I resigned, I took my family to Malindi for a holiday.
You know how to resign.
At the end, you see, when I was there, I was like, by the way, I'm jobless. And then I started asking myself, okay, what have I done?
And now you're on holiday.
Yes, and I'm jobless. So what am I going to do? My mind was racing.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, fine. What I will do is that I will not be employed again. Whatever the job or business I'm going to do, I will do it, but I will not be employed again.
Yeah.
And I continued praying. And I listened. There is one of the preachers I listened to, Joel Osteen. He's a very positive-minded person. And I listen and listen and listen to a lot of his preachings.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, fine. Then I was invited by my niece to Boston, US, and I left. When I was there, and I inquired a little what the kind of thing I would do when I'm there, I didn't like the kind of jobs. Any job I would have gotten there was not what I'm trained for and what I would want to do.
When you're now in the US?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I came back. When I came back, a friend of mine called me and told me there is a school on sale in Nanyuki.
Wow.
I was told in the evening.
Yeah.
And the following day, I was here.
It was what you wanted.
Yeah, he told me, he's a very good friend of mine. He's actually the owner of the Brookfield School in Karatina, my former principal at Alliance High School.
Wow.
So I came.
Yeah.
I was taken around. You know, I pretended to be, the school was under lease. That property, many people don't know the history of St. Christopher School. St. Christopher School was built in 1936. It was called Beehive School. It belonged to Colonel Delaforce and his wife. Colonel Delaforce was the magistrate in Nanyuki, and his wife was running the school.
Okay.
Then in 1973, he decided to sell the property. It was 60 acres of land, the whole of this cottage estate, plus the school. So his own cook gathered men, his friends, from his home area in Nyeri. They formed a company. They came from Tetu and Muhoyas. So they formed a company called Tetu Muhoyas.
Yes.
They raised the money that was required in 1973, paid the Muzungu, and acquired the land. So they shared out the rest of the land, and left the school with 4.1 acres. They leased the school to another Muzungu, Anne Woodward.
Yeah.
She had come from St. Christopher School in Karen. So when she came here, she changed the name from St. Christopher, from Beehive School to St. Christopher's. Okay. That's how it acquired the name.
All right.
Yeah,
Nice.
so she ran the school until around 1981. She passed on. And then Mrs. Kurutu and her family leased the school all the way to 2009 when it was advertised for sale. So when I came around and I was shown the school, it was not impressive at all because it was those wooden structures of 1936. That's the way it looked.
Yeah.
However, I had a burning desire.
Oh, yeah.
And the interesting thing about it is I decided I'm going to buy. But you know what? I had no money, no savings. I think my account had about 600,000 in savings. That's it. But I had some assets. When I was in the rest of my life there, I had bought some plots here and some property. So I went back to my friend and we went to the sellers and we told them, you know what, we would like to buy. So we started negotiations. The first negotiation, the first day, we could not agree. They started from very high, I started low. But somebody had told me there were other people who were interested from this region and elsewhere. So we disagreed. They were old men. They told me, you go and think about it, we will call you. And actually went feeling a little depressed. After about 5 days, they called me. They told me, you know what, can you tell us what you were telling us the other day?
Start afresh.
Have you decided to meet our price? By that time, I adjusted a little upwards. They also came down a little. Then we could not agree again. Yes, and I went away. But this time, I felt that actually I'm going to get this property. So I prodded them. I kept on calling.
Now you started pursuing.
After another few days, we met again. That attempt, we finally reached an agreement on a figure. And let me tell you, we were in Nyeri somewhere. And so there was a lawyer friend of mine at Mudhoga Gaturu and Advocates. Their offices were next to Barclays Bank in Nyeri. So the moment these wazes agreed, we agreed on the price. I told them, you know what, I have a lawyer just near here. Can we go and make the agreement? And I was literally running. I think I was almost 5 meters ahead of them as we walked to the lawyer.
You had to get this one.
I had to get it. Now that we have agreed. And when I'm doing all these things, I really did not know. And I want you to see something, Cecilia, here. That I have seen God's hand in almost everything that I've done. And I believe God gave me his favor.
True.
Because we went to the lawyer. The lawyer told us, it was around 1 o'clock. He told us to go back at 4. He will have prepared the documents. So we went away, then gathered again, at 4. And then the agreement had been drafted. So we signed. And each party got their copy. You know what?
What?
From there, I drove like crazy to Nairobi. To Nairobi.
Yes.
You know where I was going?
No.
I have, one of my sisters is married in Kikuyu. And near her place, I had bought a plot. And what I was after, I was told, these guys had told me, in 5 days, you pay us 10% of the selling price.
In 5 days?
In 5 days. And then in 6 months, you pay the balance. And the deal will be over. What came into my mind is, I must sell one of my plots in 5 days. Have you ever heard that?
No.
Imagine.
No wonder you left immediately.
Yes. I went, my brother-in-law, we are very good friends. I told him, you know what, I have this deal. I have no money. It's worth millions. But I have no money and I need to pay 10% of this money. Then I told him, can we sell this plot?
Yeah.
He just called a broker friend of his and said, can you start looking for somebody to buy this?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I was looking for people, but for people to give you money in millions, of course. But I was trying friends who could probably agree. Before I sell the plot, they give me that money, I pay these guys.
Did you ever think about partnership at this moment?
No, I never thought about it. I never. So, first of all, when the broker, let me tell you, I want you to see where God comes in.
Yeah.
When the broker was told to sell, he went, immediately he started looking for people. And me, I went away. The following day I was called. And we met at my brother-in-law's place. The broker came and said, there is a muzee here who is interested. The following day.
Yeah, that's good.
That plot, do you know what? I had bought that plot in 1991 at 270,000.
Yeah.
I was selling it at 2.5 million. Back in 2009. And the muzee said, you see, he saw the plot, liked it, and he told me he would like to buy it for his daughter who was in America.
Yeah.
And then I told him why I needed the money. Now listen, the muzee tells me, you know what? I have listened to your story.
Yeah.
And I can see what you are after.
Yeah.
I'll give you, we agreed from 2.5 million to 2.3.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 2 million. I'll put it in your account.
What?
The rest of the deal we can do when we are going to land board.
What?
I had my money. By the fourth day, I was with the wazes. I told them, you know what?
Yeah.
I can pay you the 10%. To this day, those guys do not believe that I sold property to pay them. They thought that money was in my account.
Yeah, within a short
4
days, literally.
Huyo sio Mungu, ni
Huyo ni
nani?
Mungu. Huyo ni Mungu.
That's God's favor.
Yeah.
So I paid them what they needed. And then they told me, now take over the school. And you pay us 50,000 shillings per month for 6 months, after which you can, now we can go to the land board and you take over the property.
Yeah.
Now that was September 2009. And now the person who was leasing the school had 16 candidates. So they had to do KCP, and then she leaves the school to me.
Yeah.
But then I had to negotiate with her so that I can inherit some desks which were hers. The rest of the property wasn't hers, but there were some desks and some kitchen items and whatever. So that we negotiated separately. So that December, I remember that December 2009, I started marketing myself. And I want you to see something else that shows you God's hand in it. Yeah. When I went, a friend of mine took me to see the priest in charge of the PCA church, because I wanted to go to churches, tell them that I'm the new owner of St. Christopher School, and they should give me children, because there were very few.
Yeah.
So when the pastor went and introduced me to, he called the priest, a Reverend Moredi, and he said he was in a matatu coming from Nairobi. So we waited for him at the matatu terminus.
Yeah.
And so when he came out, he got into my car at the back seat, because we were seated in the car. And when he got in and said, "Oh, you mean this is Benard?"
Wow.
It was a guy who knew me.
Yeah.
And you know what? When I was in Standard 7 in Nyeri, Kireti, he was in Standard 4, and I was their head prefect. So he could recognize me.
Yeah.
Reverend Muraidi facilitated me in a fantastic manner, because I would go to PCA Church, the English service, the Kikuyu service, and Kiswahili service.
Okay.
And I would be facilitated to stand in front there and tell the people who I am and what I'm doing.
Wow.
And I went to other churches. So eventually, by January 2010, I had a significant number of children to start with. Yes.
Oh, to start?
To start, it was, what I was inheriting was less than 100 kids.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got over 200 by January.
Ah.
Yes.
That's a lot.
And from then on, I decided, okay, I started, and then remember, by June 2010, I had to pay the balance.
Oh, yeah.
And then June 2010 comes, and I don't have money. Okay. I had gone to every bank, including even SACCOs and nobody wanted to finance me. And I had a very good business proposal that I had written. When they looked at that school, the way it was looking, wooden and dilapidated and almost rotten, nobody wanted to finance me. They all went away. In fact, they would come, they asked me for valuations, they asked me for all documents, I give them, but then they don't come back. Then I follow them, and then they say...
Silence.
They refused. Here I am, I committed myself, but I have no money. But I thank God because I have a very powerful spirit.
Yeah.
When I focus on something I don't give up. It will either break me or I break it. So June comes, and then I called the owners, was there, Inyeri, and I called them for lunch. Gave them lunch. Then I told them,
I have no money. I
don't have your money. But I'm pleading with you. I'm pleading, give me up to December 2010.
Yeah.
And I know I'll have gotten the money. And then now you see a God's hand again.
Yeah.
One of the wazes stood up and said, we have heard of your fame in Nanyuki. You have started that school so well.
Yeah.
You are doing a very good job. And because you look like our child, we give you 1 more year.
A year?
Where do you ever hear such things?
I have never heard.
Instead of giving me up to December 2010, they gave me up to June 2011. Yes. So I continued looking for money. I tell you, it was difficult. I could not get. Then I remembered a certain lady whose children I taught.
Yeah.
And they were good family friends. So I went to her and told her all my problems. Then she told me, you come here. She's a business lady in Nairobi. Yeah. She took me to the finance director of Development Bank of Kenya. When I went there, I was asked for the normal documents and whatever. Then, in 2 weeks, I was called back. I had been given 3/4 of the money. Offer letter. Now the question is, okay, I have this money. Where do I get the balance? Then I went to a friend of mine, a very wealthy guy in Nyeri. Yeah. His children went through Alliance High School, so we knew each other. And what I told him is interesting because I went and told him, you know what? I don't want to mention his name, but I told him, you know what? I know you are a rich man and you are a millionaire. Those are the words I used. Yes. I have this money. Yes. Can you give me this balance? Yes. We do an agreement, and for sure, because you know me, you know I'll pay you. Yeah. The man was just laughing. Then he took his phone and called the manager, Equity Bank, Nyeri 2, and called him to his office. When the manager came, he told him, this young man, I know him. Yeah. I want you to go with him, listen to his story, and help him.
Just that.
So I drove with the manager to the office. I gave, as usual, he asked for the documents. Then my documents go to Equity headquarters. And then after a few days, I get a call from a stranger. Yeah. He tells me, that Benard Mathu, yes. This is so and so. When you are in Form 6, I was your Form 1. And I'm now the final signatory. Equity. I can see you are asking us to finance you on this. I said yes. He asked me a few questions. And do you know what? I was given all the money. I don't want to mention amounts. I was given all the money less 700,000. Yes.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
And then now the balance of 700,000, I had by then sold another property that I had somewhere in Githurai.
Yeah.
So at least I had the money to top up.
Yeah.
So here, the offer letter I got from the other bank,
Yeah.
I now went back and cancelled it, and now the equity financed everything.
Everything, yeah.
When I got my money, I paid those guys. We went to the land board. The day I got the title deed
Yeah.
on with my name, I think that's one of my greatest days.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why.
Tell me why.
In between, there were some people who had gone behind my back and telling those guys to throw me out, they can pay more. But those guys had said, no, this guy has not yet been defeated. So the moment the title deed was on my name.
Even when they are adding you a year, people are already pursuing them.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That is good.
Well, so, and one of them had actually walked in like a parent, and I showed him around. Kumbe is a guy who wants to, to go behind my back.
Yeah.
So I got my title deed, and there I was. Now the other big question is this. The school was still looking dilapidated, old structures, and I was advertising. I would go to some of my friends and they tell me, okay, we know you are a performer, we know your CV is good, but I will not give you children with these kind of structures. Yeah, they were telling me on the face.
The truth.
Yes. Now, where do I get money? First of all, I've just been given money to buy. So there is loan to pay. And my cash flow was still very weak. So where do I get money to start construction?
Wow. And just before he says that, comes the end of our part 1. We'll be right back. Bye-bye from us.